Bret Bielema, the head coach of Illinois, came out, Joe, and was in an interview and said that Georgia allegedly tampered with Josh McCray, the running back for Illinois. Now, in his exact quote, Bret Bielema said somehow Josh McCray found his way in the portal, and then 12 hours later, he was on a flight to Georgia. Don't know how that happened, but it is crazy. Just for a little bit of reference here, there was a video that was published in December when McCray entered the portal that Bret Bielema had stated that he knew all season, halfway through the season, that McCray told him that he was interested in entering the portal and that we knew that this, and I'm quoting here, we knew this day was already happening. I tagged you in it just so we all had the reference here. Mm-hmm. So sometimes I got to be honest, not everything's tampering.
Okay, I understand like having that reference and having that perspective in this conversation. Like, yes, not everything is tampering, but at the same time, it doesn't mean it's not tampering. I know that's kind of like a shitty way of me putting it. We don't have the full context here. I don't even think Bret Bielema necessarily has the full context here. I think that he's speculating just like we are going to be speculating on if it was or not.
But I would have to pause you there rudely. In the instance, then how can you come out with a video in December and say halfway through the season that he had already told Bielema that—
Wait, I'm confused by where the timeline of you saying that it was in December, because the tweet
that's at the end of the season where the video is clipped from. So John Sports, go ahead.
Wait, this says that his comments about McCray were the day after he entered the transfer portal, which was in the spring.
Okay, so it was in December.
Unless I'm missing something here.
That's then the video makes no sense, because then his statements there were literally saying during the season we had talked about him going into the portal. So again, when is this even happening? How can you have let's say, okay, so it goes in the spring. Then how do you have a season conversation with him and quoting, anticipating the day coming? I'm not trying to stick up for Kirby here, because I'm not saying that they don't tamper, because I think we all think that they do, and everybody does. At the same time, in this instance, how can you say that? How can Bret Bielema come out and say that, and then all of a sudden he wants to go out there and talk about tampering? Is it because he went to Georgia?
No, he's talking about the reference that he had, and you even read the quote, is that he's suddenly 12 hours later, he's on a plane flying to Georgia. There had to have been some sort of communication before that point for it to have rapidly picked up that much speed. Again, I get what you're saying, that like we can't just call every situation tampering. We can't have every single coach call every single player deciding to leave tampering. But at the same time, it's a little bit coincidental that he's suddenly already on his way to Georgia. He committed pretty quickly when he hopped in the portal.
I mean, Joe, I don't mean this in a wrong way, but a kid entered the portal today for baseball that nobody knew that was going into the portal, because apparently there were some issues going on with the current state, and he's at an SEC school today, right now. And I talked to the staff where the kid's going, and they were like, we literally got his number in from the portal and called him. We had no clue he was going. He's going to be in Baton Rouge tonight. I mean, I'm not trying to be rude here. I'm just saying, like, there also comes a point in time where, like, 12 hours is, I know it's a short amount of time. It's also not that long of a time.
What I was trying to more so get at the beginning of this segment, we can sit here and debate the semantics of if it was tampering or not. We don't have the details. That's the problem. That's what I'm getting at here. And I think that Bret Bielema probably doesn't have the problem. I think that the bigger conversation point here is the direct accusation that's being thrown at Kirby Smart. And more importantly, is this the proper process for this to be handled? Like, how much better can we handle this? Is Bret Bielema wrong for just publicly stating and implying that there was tampering? Because that's what my main focus is with this. Is this an appropriate way to handle this?
I got to be honest. Joe, can I be real with you? Name an SEC head coach, not name Lane Kiffin, because he's his own beast. But can you name a head coach in the SEC who's constantly calling out head coaches in the Big Ten? Because I legitimately have Matt Rule.
Probably the only one.
I have Matt Rule and Bret Bielema doing it. Okay, sounds good. It's a little soft to me. It's a little soft in the sense of you're calling out Kirby for quote unquote tampering. And I literally do have a video of you saying that this day's coming. I think that coaches get in a situation where they have a player that they wanted on their roster, clearly. And instead of just saying that we lost him because we weren't getting him the reps or the kid wanted to go somewhere else, you're not putting it on me. Like, he doesn't want to take any blame for that, so he's going to put it on Kirby. I mean,
I don't like that implication that like he's making it an excuse here, because again, we don't know the full scope of this situation. If he thinks that there was tampering involved,
but here's
why would he just go and make that statement if he didn't think that there was some sort of foul play?
Because coaches never lie to make themselves look better.
Okay, that's a fair point.
I mean, like, what are we talking about here? I am not saying. Well, let me say this. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but Joe, with all due respect, it's not as if that the University of Georgia has been missing on running backs. Like, it's not as if that depth chart is a massive issue there. Like, they tamper.
Well, then why? Wait. But why go and get him? And why is he now listed as the second running back on their depth chart by most platforms?
Ask Kirby. But I think it's very foolish. I mean, and very foolish for you to call out a coach when, Joe, I got to be honest with you. How did Luke Altmaier get to Illinois?
Wait, hold on. That I don't like bringing up because
you can't do it. We did this to Kirby about a month ago, where he went out there with a statement and we was like, well, listen, you can't bitch about tampering and then you do the same thing. It's the same thing going out with Bielema.
But I find it very hard to believe. I don't know anything about Luke Altmaier being tampered with heading to Illinois. I did hear plenty that Luke Altmaier was being reached out to about entering the portal by SEC schools to go. Right. No, that was before the Nico stuff. That there was plenty of rumblings that Luke Altmaier was being reached out to. There was a lot. That was something that was being talked about a lot for the first portal opening when it happened. So I don't think that it is. I don't think my whole point with this, Blake, is I don't think it's wrong if you think that if there was foul play involved with your roster. None of the big teams do this because they have the money to back up keeping guys. But I also don't lose players.
But there just comes a point in time where when a recruit is missed and when a kid leaves your team, it's either tampering or money. That's not always the case. It literally is not always the case. I'm sorry, it's not. It legitimately, you want to be a backup at Illinois, or you want to be a backup at Georgia, you pick.
But my problem though, Blake, with this conversation is that like we don't know. The person who's going to know this information more is Bret Bielema.
But
the closest to the situation, unless Kirby chimes in and provides context that we need.
Like I stated in the beginning, though, how can you have a video that I tagged you in where this man said that, quote, I knew this conversation was having, and we were having this discussion during the season with the kid. And if you knew that then, how can you come out now and talk about tampering?
But is that not him, that video, is that not him pointing out that people were reaching out to him during the season? Is that not what that indication is? He's saying that he understood at the time that there was interest being had in the player on his roster.
Coach.
The school where he ended up at would make the most sense.
Fair. No, I think Bret, who also got in an incident with Shane Beamer during a bowl game, I got to be real. I think Bret does some things for clicks. I really do.
Come on, Blake.
I know that you love him, but there comes a point in time.
No. That has nothing to do with it.
You know what? Show me evidence then.
There is none.
Okay.
There's no evidence on either side.
Okay. At some point, we have to hold coaches accountable where you go out there and say tampering, you better bring it with it. You can't go out there and
he provided evidence. He provided a timeline. The evidence that he provided was a timeline, and the timing in which it happened was extremely suspicious. That is evidence.
That is not evidence.
He doesn't have a screenshot of a conversation as evidence. He doesn't have Josh McCray's phone. He doesn't have any of that stuff.
Okay, well then that's not evidence. A kid getting in the portal and then Joe, what if I called you right now and said, listen, buddy, I really need you to be here tomorrow in the state of Louisiana.
Oh, wait, hold on. Here's a really good example. 2 weeks ago had a company that called me and said, can you fly out to Dallas so that you can come meet everybody? You know what I said? No. I said no, because that was unreasonably quick for me to turn around and drop everything to fly out to Dallas.
Let me give you another situation.
Okay.
Last summer around this time, I got a phone call from you, and I had to be in New York within 24 hours.
It was a little bit longer than 24 hours.
Oh,
so you had it wasn't 12 hours. It wasn't 12 hours.
Do you know what I'm getting?
No, we had a week to figure it out.
No, I didn't. No,
I remember because
I got called on a Tuesday and I left on a Thursday.
I think that timeline's slightly messed up.
No, it's not. No, it is not. Again, the timeline does not dictate tampering.
Okay. Here's my biggest part with this, Blake.
Okay.
I think and we don't know what the whole tampering process is going to be with the College Sports Commission. I agree with you. I don't think it's necessarily smart and appropriate for him to just drop this in a interview, like to just say it offhandedly, and for us to what like we're sitting here doing right now is a waste of everybody's energy. We're speculating. We weren't a part of any of these conversations. We're doing exactly what Bret has created. I would like to see that instead of these public statements by him, by Matt Rule, as you mentioned, Boise State, Dirk Cutter has been a coach that brought up that Oregon was tampering with some of their players. Yes. Narduzzi. I would like to see that if coaches really feel like that there's something going on, to actually file some sort of official complaint to the CSC. And I think that as much as there should be consequences for tampering, I think there should be consequences for calling for tampering and there not being anything. You can't just wildly accuse somebody of doing something.
I fully agree with you there. Now, everybody said, in the chat about me going to New York, that's 48 hours. Well, the University of Georgia football recruiting has more money than Blake Ruffino.
Well, that's Bleacher Report paid for your flight.
But if you remember, I had to come out of pocket and then they reimbursed me.
Okay. That's fair.
Okay. So let's not like Blake Ruffino does not have the money that Georgia football recruited. If you wanted to go get a kid, you can go get a kid. Joe, I'm really getting to a place in time, really. Take the coaches' names out of it. Stop complaining. Show me evidence. Because Joe, we've been doing this for 4 years. Like, at some point, can y'all start showing some evidence that this actually happened? Or here's the great thing. I got a better idea. College Football Commission is open, is it not?
Well, I don't think it's officially open. I think that's going to be
July the 1st.
Process.
Okay, July the 1st, correct? July the 1st is the start date.
I think it's the start date. It's the start date of the House case. I don't know if the College Sports Commission is going to be ready.
Oh no, kids with NIL deals. Just as a fair warning, we had to go through the. They had already sent it through NIL Go.
Yeah, so they have to send it in, but like I don't know if there's investigation.
Regardless of when it goes live. Okay, regardless of when it goes live. Let's say it goes live July the 1st. File an investigation suit. Stop talking about it and do what Wisconsin did yesterday. You know what I love about Wisconsin? Thank you for brother. They have a lot
more evidence. They actually have a lot more evidence to do that.
Good.
Wait. Bret can't file any report in this situation because it happened before the CSC.
Well, then stop bitching.
But see, this is the part that I don't agree with. Like, if you feel that there was wrongdoing and you got wronged,
all right,
why does he have to just shut up and take it?
Okay, since words don't mean anything, I can go on the internet right now and say somebody's cheating on their wife. I have no evidence.
You're not going to just wait, but that's not what Bret's doing. Bret's not just blindly making a statement. He didn't also directly state. He implied based off of his own
Joe,
assumptions.
let's cut the bullshit. He's out here saying that they tampered. Let's cut the BS.
But he didn't directly state it because he doesn't have direct evidence. He's smart enough to know that he can't say Kirby Smart tampered with my player. He knows that would have got him in. You
started this segment off saying that they tampered. You know exactly what he meant.
I know that we all knew what he meant, but my point is that you're not making that statement unless you feel like you have some sort of. There's clearly information that he's not sharing.
Okay, and all I am saying is put your big boy pants on and do something about it, because the only
he
thing
is doing something about it. What else is he supposed to do about this?
File a suit when it's time. I'm sorry, but Joe, can I tell you what I really think? Did you see the comments underneath that article from On3? Did you see the fans saying, I'm so tired of this shit? Like you have multiple people inside the comments saying, I'm so over this. I'm so over this. I'm so over this. You know what? I'm getting to a place where I got to be honest with you. I am too.
But like my only problem with this whole segment, I feel like you're going to great lengths to defend Kirby. Like that's where we don't have evidence we have less evidence to defend Kirby than we do to go after Bret in this situation, Bielema in this situation.
No, I don't. That's not true, because I have a video of Bret saying something completely different literally months beforehand. I mean, I do. So you can say I don't have evidence, but I got a video that says that he thought something else was going on.
I don't know. I think that I don't know. I don't have much else to say.
I'm not going to lie to you. This argument felt good.